Okay. Well, morning.
Good morning.
Doesn't
Morning.
look like we have any new folks. Any announcements to make? No?
The only thing I might say is that I've been pretty much of a bum for the past month. And by the time we get together in 2 weeks, I'll have that workshop completed. And then I'll have some kind of discussion at the church and let people know what's going to be in it, to find out if they're at a level where, it's just stuff they know and they don't need to come, or if it's something that someone here, believes that could help them with photography. So I'll kind of give an overview, so to a point where people can make a decision if it's the right thing to attend or not.
Okay.
Frank is
Can you
trying
say-
to log on and is having trouble. I'm trying to
Say
send
briefly,
him.
Bill, what it is?
Oh, shoot. No.
Lynn?
Yeah. Can you say briefly what the workshop will be?
Oh, I talked a little bit about it the last time at the church. Was actually controlling light, understanding what aperture is versus shutter speed versus ISO, how they react with each other, different results that you would get. So
Okay.
it'll be more of an understanding of the light around you. So, and particularly it's important when people want to do things in manual mode as well, to know how one thing affects something else.
Okay,
And
thank you.
certain settings that you can make with your camera that will not throw you for a loop, when you do make some of these changes. One thing is, I think I mentioned, was like auto ISO. So, it'll be those kind of things. There'll be some pre-work as far as needing to how to make certain changes with your camera, because I don't know everybody's camera out there. I'm a Nikon guy, but and also the second part of it is getting tack sharp images, which is really aimed at the focusing modes, how you can adjust your focus points to ensure that you get the best image every time.
Hmm. Pretty
Morning.
good.
There.
Okay. Hey, Frank, I see you made it.
Yeah, there was that Zoom link that was on one of the last emails. I tried it. It kept asking for a passcode. But the
was
one you
probably-
just gave me worked. So I'm in.
Okay. Don't
It
know
was
what
probably
that
for
meant.
the Chapel Hill Club.
It was from Helen. It was an email from Helen regarding meetings. And then it had this link and it said, on a Mac, put it in your sticky notes and and I just copied and pasted it. It didn't work though. It kept asking for a code.
Hmm.
But I'm going to save the one that Mike sent.
Yeah. The one that I sent you was is on my calendar every week, so I don't
All right.
anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a while, but the last Zoom meeting we did, I talked a little bit about printing, and this is a follow-up to that, and more into framing than anything else. But there is a link back to printing that I want to give, and then I'll move more directly into getting things inside a frame. The link back to printing, I mentioned this, but it may have gone by too fast. But if you're planning on framing something, always leave a border around the print or the image itself. Meaning, if you're going to print on 8.5 by or 8 by 10 paper, don't make the image 8 by 10. You'll go right to the edge of the paper, and when you frame it, if you put a mat over the photo, you're going to eliminate some part of the photo. So the idea is to figure out what paper size you want to frame, and then put an image that is smaller than that paper size on the paper. I don't know whether this is something that Bill has talked about in the elements workshops that he's done, but in elements there is you can create a blank image and then drop an image on that blank, and you can resize that image that you put on the blank form. If you're doing 8 by 10, maybe you do an image that is 7 by 9 to leave a border around it. If you're sending this off, your file off to a remote printer, you can ask them to print on 8 by 10, but then send them a 7 by 9 photo and just indicate that it's centered. If you don't put anything, it's likely to be put centered, but it'll come back with a border around it. So that becomes an issue when you get to framing, so that you're not cropping out or covering up some part of the image that might detract from it if you can't see the whole thing, to isolate a little bit. And moving to printing or to framing itself, the first thing to do, and I want to get what I can't find right now. Had a couple slides to show and I didn't get them queued up. Okay, back to Zoom. Share screen. Talk a little bit about frame size versus photo size. I don't know where this came from, but it's been in my notes forever. Somewhere I found this chart that relates the most appropriate, or at least suggested, frame size for a given photo size. And you can see 8 by 10 should be framed 11 by 14, and on down the list. I'll get to my own size here in a minute or two. The first photography course I took was in 1970 at the University of Wisconsin La Crosse, and the person that taught that photo class had us do everything of a given size on the same size mat or the same size board. And I think that somewhere in there, that may be where this came from. To this day, everything I do that is of a given size is on the same size board. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But the rough guidelines for picking a frame size is there. Once the image is printed, the next thing is getting it on a board. Normally, you're not going to put a photo that's just on photo paper inside a frame. You're going to put it on something, whether it's mat board. I use foam board. It's a lot sturdier than mat board. And what I use comes from Walmart these days. If you look for it, and it's not in every store, but it's acid-free foam board. A big deal with me is trying to preserve things so that they don't fade, that they don't bleed colors, etc. And having archival foam board, archival tape to put things on foam board or mat board is a big deal. Whether it really makes any difference, I don't know, but it's just the practice I have. back in the day when I was in Oklahoma and having a lot of stuff mounted, I didn't do it myself. I had a frame shop, it was a good friend, and I think I probably got a cut rate deal because Maxine would put a print of mine on foam board, acid-free foam board with archival mounting paper, and I think she charged me $15 a copy. You can't get that done around here for that kind of money. I've tried a number of places and they're just exorbitant, so I wound up doing it myself. And these are the two things I use: archival foam board and the double sided tape is labeled as photo safe. Doesn't say acid free, but it's as close as I've been able to find for do it yourself mounting. The where the photo goes on that foam board, it depends. It depends on the size of window mat that you may use, but normally, with being consistent one shot to the next, everything I have is centered on foam board, whether it's a landscape or a portrait. It gets centered on the foam board, but there may be occasions when you don't want to do it that way. But that's the way I do all of the stuff I'm doing. In terms of a mat to go over the photograph, whatever size frame this photo is going into is the same size as the mat board, and it's the same size as the window mat. I can't cut mats myself. I mean, I can cut a straight line, but I can't cut a window. Most of the window mats are beveled, and that's something you can do at home if you have the right equipment, but it's too hard to do just by hand if you don't have the equipment. You can go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's or a similar place, and a lot of times you can find pre-cut mats. Other times they'll cut them for you, and it's not huge expensive. I haven't had a mat cut here in a long time. I have a set of mats that I move around, which is something I'll get to in a minute as well. So if it's on foam board, you have a mat cut. The next question is, how big is that window in the mat? And that's something that can vary. I bring the mat window up to about 1/2 inch on all sides of the image. And that's where that white space comes in. The window mat probably ought to come up close to the image, but leave a little bit of that white surround that you left when you had the photo printed or when you printed it at home. The mats that I use for the size frame I use have, and the size frame I use is an 18 by 24. The mats are 18, or the foam board is 18 by 24. The mat's 18 by 24. And on the window inside the mat is about 2 3/4 inches all the way around. I leave a little extra room at the bottom, a little more white space at the bottom than on the top left and right. And I do that to leave room for a signature. I don't like signing prints on the photograph. A lot of times there's not a good place to put it so that you can see it if you care to have if you care to have a signature. And if you want to leave a room for a signature, have the white space around the print won't be equal. It won't be centered on the page. Again, for mine, I have a 1/2 inch border of white on the top left and right, and about 3/4 of an inch at the bottom so that there's room for a signature or a title if you want to add that. And that brings up another thing about what do you sign it with? There are photo safe ink pens, more or less like a felt tip, but a very fine felt tip. And you use those for the same reason that you want to use acid-free other things, because it will. I made a mistake some time back and used an off-brand pen to sign, and all of those signatures have turned red on the bottom of the print. Yeah, it's a bummer. But there are photo safe pens to sign if you wish to do that. And that's an example of a bunch of things. One is the white border being different left, right, and top with a little more space at the bottom. And it's an indication too of the spacing of the matte window around the print. And again, I didn't cut that matte. I could never do it that well. And that's one that's framed.
Nice.
The frame, all the frames I have, with one or two exceptions, I should say, almost all the frames I have are metal frames that you can buy at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or online. They're all the same size for the two sizes that I print. Most of the prints I have are 13 by 19, which when we go back to this first one, when I print on 13 by 19 paper, the print size is either 11.5 by 17 3/4 if it's landscape, or 17.5 and 11.75 for a portrait. That's what gives me the uneven border with more at the bottom. The mattes, as I mentioned before, are all we have an opening of 2 3/4 of an inch. So I have, I think, 50 frames for that size photograph. And the benefit of that is that if you get tired of looking at something, you can just switch it into another frame. You can use the same mat board, the same glass, and the difference between those aluminum section frames and custom made frames is huge. I'd love to have everything framed in maple, but not going to happen. I don't know, in rambling through this, whether I've left anything out that you need to ask. I'd be happy to try and answer. Susan, and then Helen.
You said that the print is 11.5 by 17.75. So when you send the print off to a place to have it printed, can you actually say to them, this is the size of the print? Or is the print a different size?
The only thing you have to do is to send them the file that has the dimensions of the image that you want. So if I'm sending a print to MPix, I send them a file that is 11.5 by 17 3/4. But when I get to the print size, the paper size that I have to give to MPix, I pick a 16 by 24 because they don't do a 13 by 19. I pick the next size bigger and then just cut the part I don't need off. So all you need to do is to send them a file of the right size and then pick your paper for that size of file and it'll be centered.
Okay.
Question.
Yep, Helen?
Yeah, I have a cutter. I've been framing pictures, not photographs, but pictures since I took a course at Durham Tech many years ago, and I've got a manual cutter. It's hard to use. It's not, but if anybody wants to borrow it and play with it, it does do the beveled edges. Getting the corners is, I can always get 3 corners perfect, and I always blow the last corner. The only issue on loaning this, the blades wear quickly, and I don't know if you can still get blades. I'll try to check and see, but I'll be glad to loan it to anybody that wants to cuss a lot in exchange for them getting me a package of blades.
Well, I don't know what customs or pre-cut sizes places like Hobby Lobby have, and I don't know what a custom frame shop would charge for just the window mat. Again, this place back in Oklahoma that I used, she charged me $15 for one.
Yeah,
Don't-
Frame Warehouse is another good place they have a lot bigger choice and are easy to work with, and you can get UV glass pretty cheaply there too.
Yeah.
But as I said, if you want to play with this cutter, we'll all close our ears when you when you do, because you'll be cursing. But can be used to produce a professional mat with the beveled edges.
Lynn?
So you kind of glossed over how you're going to attach the picture to the foam board. Is it a hinged attachment?
Yeah, I did do that. I did gloss over that. If you read what archival how archival prints are mounted, there is a way of doing it with a hinge, and it uses acid-free cloth tape. I think that's a lot harder. What I do is I get the print, the image, and centered where I want it on the foam board. I will mark the edge, the very corner of the foam board, or of the edge of the, start over, Mike. I mark the edge of the paper on the foam board, take the paper off, take a piece of this double-sided tape, stretch it out at the top and the bottom, just one strip at the top and one strip at the bottom. I've got my marks on the foam board where the print goes, and I just lay it back down on those marks. Now the tape,
Or you can, yeah, or you can then do it like a hinge off of your mat, which is the way I've always done it. I've never done what Mike does. I always center mine on the mat, assuming that I cut the mat correctly.
yeah, and
I
that's
took
yeah.
I took a class at the Friday Center on cutting mats, and your hands have to be really strong. And I don't have the strength to do it. You know, it's really tough. But I think they did the hinged attachment to the foam board, I think, rather than the matting. I can't remember.
What is that? Explain what the hinged is.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Can you?
Well, you can probably explain it better than I.
Well,
Oh,
it's just as the name suggests. If you were to put a piece of tape down on the back of a print, half of that piece of tape would be on the print itself, and the other half would be exposed at the top, and then you fold that tape that's left over at the top behind the print, and that goes on the mat board. I mean, you are putting a print down so that half of the tape is on the print and half of the tape It's going to be on the board. And the right way, the way I learned originally to mount prints was using a type of paper that looks kind of like, I don't know, it's old copy paper or something, thin stuff that was heat sensitive. And you would cut a piece of this paper that was the same size as your print, and then you would put it in a heat press, and the press would melt the backing, and that was the way that it was attached to the paper. I mean, I'm sorry, that was the way it was attached to the board. And
Dry mount versus wet mount.
yeah, dry mount. Yeah, and there are ways to do it with spray adhesive as well. There's adhesive.
No, you don't want to do that. You
Yeah,
don't want to do that.
that's it. And the way I do it, it keeps me from making mistakes that I can't fix. And having a heat press anymore is an uncommon thing. A professional print shop may use it. Hobby Lobby doesn't.
I
They
have
use.
two more questions.
Go ahead.
What kind of paper do you use? Do you use glossy or matte or luster? What kind of paper?
Yeah, this is more old school for me. The only thing I print is glossy. And that's kind of, like I say, that's old school. That's the way I grew up, and that's the way I like it.
And the second question, once you've attached a photo to a foam board, is it there permanently, or do you remove it and put another photo on the foam board?
There is releasable tape, so that if you put it down and want to take it off, you can do that. But I've not been able to find an acid-free or a photo-safe releasable tape. The tape you'll find in the Scotch line lists it as for use with posters, and it doesn't say photos. The tape that I showed you a picture of may not be archival, but it does say it's photo safe, and that's what I use.
Okay.
And again, if it's an original work of art, it's one thing, but with a photo, if something does happen to that photo, I can print another one. So, and I'm doing what I do only because it's cheaper than taking it to a frame shop these days. And what's that, Bill?
I
So it
use
sounds like-
Scotch tape.
What is it? Scotch?
Scotch tape.
Yeah.
What I do, I go buy the pre-sized up at Michael's, because I'm a lazy guy. And so what you do is you get the frame with a mat already in it. And sometimes the frame is, say, the whole frame is this, could hold a 16 by 20 without a mat. Then the mat that they include is one for 11 by 14, which is kind of another standard. So you can use the frame either way. And when I used a mat, because I print basically 11 by 14, I just take the mat out, put the the image down on it, get a couple pieces of Scotch tape, put it on the corners, put the cardboard back that comes with it, that kind of snugs it up, and I'm done in 5 minutes. I don't, it's probably a bad idea, but I'm lazy, like I said.
Well, and I guess I would add to my method. I'm cheap because I want things that I can I've done exhibits that I didn't want the same pictures of, but I didn't want to buy new frames. So I've done everything at the same size from just the beginning. I have no idea how many I have that are mounted, but
Mike, you want to talk about glass at all?
oh, glass.
Mm-hmm.
The glass I have for an 18 by 24 frame is plain old cheap window glass, and I think I've been charged $15 for a sheet of it. The other end of that is um, uh,
I love it. Yep.
I'm looking at Lynn.
This is a really bizarre image.
She shrank, the incredible shrinking Lynn. You can get non-glare glass. It's frosted basically. I don't like that because I think it dulls the print some. It's more expensive. At the upper end is library. I think it's called, or maybe it's called exhibition glass, but it is you absolutely will not see glass in front of the print. It's not frosted, but it is of such a high quality that it is pure, and it doesn't distort. And it's also the high end stuff is UV protected. If you don't
And
know,
you can get conservation glass that costs a fortune, or you can get just UV protected at a frame shop, or you can go to Rice's and just get glass, and that's the cheapest place.
yeah, and that's
Okay,
what I do, Helen. I just use the cheap stuff. There was something else that was rolling around there. Oh, I know what. Beware of fluorescent lights. Fluorescent lights will ruin a print in no short time. My spouse had a clothing store, and they would do displays in the windows, and until they put a tint on those windows to block UV, both the sunshine and the fluorescent lights ruin I don't know how many pieces of clothing, and it'll do the same thing to a print. Well, I feel we need to move on to photos because there are a bunch today. And
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yep, thanks.
I'm still shooting for an exhibit someplace. And
Mhm.
You can do it. Oh, I have to tell you, there was an exhibit of art at the community church, the Unitarian church near the hospital in Chapel Hill. And they had this wonderful gallery system where there's a piece of metal that gets screwed in near the top of the wall.
Yeah.
And then there are pieces that hang down that can slide. Anyway, I think we're going to install that at the fellowship hall in our church. And we would be welcome to use it.
cool.
Wow.
and that kind of gives away the idea that I've had too, that Pastor and I and and you were there as well, I think, Lynn. We talked about the possibility of doing something like that at the church, and it's still kind of in the. But if they had a system like that, that would be incredible. Absolutely
Yeah,
incredible.
but I'm gonna look into how much it costs and see if we can get somebody to donate that.
Lynn, I'm a member of the community church, and we have an art group that brings art every 30 days. They put a new art. I could talk to them if anyone would be interested and see whether or not we can hang any of our stuff. I mean, you have 3 walls. I mean, I don't know if we could even get that many prints, because you would probably have availability of at least 25 or 30.
Well, one thing those vertical pieces do, as I understand it, if you have smaller pieces, you can hang more than one frame vertically.
Right.
So I don't know. My friend Sarah Graham's art is there right now. If you haven't seen it, it's really wonderful.
It's very nice. I've seen it.
Oh, good.
It's great. I love the
Okay.
colors.
Yeah.
Well, I'm willing, trying to talk about this without having objects to show, and it is difficult. But anybody that wants to get some individual help or a group help, we can meet and actually do some of this with hands-on rather than just talking about it. Okay, let me get photos up. Okay, back to Zoom. Back to share screen.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
I don't
That's
think that's
key
Pittsburgh.
I don't think that's
Wow.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, that's right.
So it's
What's that?
not Jordan Lake?
Right next to Jordan Lake in New Zealand.
Wow, I love the colors in that sky.
Now I want to go to New Zealand.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Well, I think one thing that helps us a whole lot is the slight reflection that allows you to demarcate the mountains from the reflection.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That line.
Mhm.
What kind of post-production did you do on this?
Well, I was just gonna say, the only thing I did was the clarity, moved it over, to, about 75%. But other than that, nothing else.
It's
Wow.
amazing.
It is.
Yeah, I was surprised when I went back and looked at it, how good it actually was without doing any adjustment.
It's great. It's when you need to frame.
Uh-huh.
Definitely.
This is Key Cobb again.
Oh, okay.
That's in Nepal. And that one was touched up. I clarified. Originally, you couldn't see much of the mountains because it wasn't dark enough. That one was f-stop of 3.5 and a 15-second exposure.
Mm.
My camera didn't do any more, so I actually had to use some adjusting on the lighting to be able to get the mountains in the lower bottom.
I'm amazed that you got so many clear stars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am too.
It's a
That is
little
amazing.
noisy. Is it blown up? It may be due to the long exposure, but
Yeah, I think it's the long exposure because when you look at the dots and they get a little bit
Mm.
hazy.
well,
And,
both Bill and I have talked about Topaz software, and there is a denoise. That's the name of the program, a denoise program that would clear a whole lot of that up. It's a great shot.
Yeah, I have
Send
to
it.
try it on the InPixio. It does have a noise reduction, but I just haven't used it.
Yeah.
You want to send it, send it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow.
And this is also in Nepal when we were doing the Manaslu circuit. That's at about, maybe 13,500 feet. Woke up and saw the beautiful sky out there and immediately went out and took the photo.
You get up in the altitude and the sky really changes. That's just incredible.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
I like that you can't tell, like the elements sort of all blend together and you kind of can't tell what's land and what's sky. It's really cool.
It is.
What's some cloud? What's a cloud? What's a peak?
Yep. Yeah, I was just astonished when I saw it, and I'm glad that the photo I took turned out.
Well, it's a good set of shots.
Thanks.
And this is
Yeah, I like how the heaviness of the dark, does a night just perfectly I just like the composition, I guess is what I'm saying, between the light and the dark.
Well, thanks, Chuck.
Really balanced, yeah.
Yeah,
That is beautiful, Kiko.
thanks.
It's incredible.
Larry,
I for this photo, I traveled all the way to Southern Village.
Whoa. So how long did that take?
Oh, days.
You drove instead of walking, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true. I tried to darken this on the post just to bring out the clouds a little bit more. I was looking for clouds for the last 4 or 5 days. It was really hard finding anything that was interesting, but I was there at the gelato place and was sitting down and I said, wow, that might work.
Yeah.
So
I like the way you got the trees, down in the
Yeah.
lower and then the upper, like
Yeah.
framing that cloud.
Yeah, I
right.
like the upper corner.
And the texture inside the cloud is great. With the white, and it's not blown out. You didn't. It's not. The highlight is down a bit. So that looks really nice.
yeah, the
Thank you.
processing is really good on this, Larry, I think, and I don't
Mhm.
think you pushed it too far darkening
What would
thing.
happen if you cropped it on the left side and got rid of that light?
I was thinking of that,
Yeah.
but I just like the trail of clouds. I don't know.
Or
Well, the
maybe
other-
use photo elements. Use photo elements to get rid of that light.
I could have done that. Yeah.
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 Or you can
I think
clone it
that would
out.
have helped.
You can clone it out
Yeah.
with software.
Yeah,
Just let the
Yeah.
big trees do the framing.
Yeah.
Larry again.
Nice.
So
Ooh,
That's nearby.
yeah, that's in Washington. And it was obviously a very bright day because you could see how almost washed out it was, but I was just trying to get that cloud formation and that's Mount Adams. And it's just a picture from a window in a cabin looking out.
Where did you say it was, Larry? In Washington?
Yeah, my son-in-law has a place up in Washington State, and so we
Oh.
went up there, and
Nice.
the bedroom that we stay in has a window that overlooks Mount Adams, so to me, it looked pretty interesting, especially with the tile roof and
Right.
it's,
It is a little blown out back towards the mountain. I don't know whether you could have darkened it any more without losing detail on the rest of the shot.
Yeah.
right. It is blown out a little bit, but
Yeah. Good picture though.
I like the framing with the trees
Yep.
in the upper left. I like that, and the interplay between that tree and the peak.
Right. Yeah, it does kind of bring your eye to the peak.
yeah,
Mhm.
Lim does.
It may have been one of those times where exposure compensation for the background might have darkened the front a little bit, but brought out the background a little bit. You can
yeah,
always
I could
pull
try
out the
that.
highlight, the shadows.
Yeah, I tried it, but the roof got really dark, so I pulled back a little bit. So I don't know. You know how it is.
Yep. It's nice.
Thank you. Thanks for the comments.
Tom,
Ooh.
is Tom still with us?
Nice.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
So down at the beach, and let's see. I think the interesting thing about this is that most of that detail you see in the land part is noise, and I put it through upscale.media, and it looked really stupid. It looked really terrible because it took out all the noise. So I really liked the texture that the noise provides. And then I took the noise out of the,
Yeah.
I took the noise out of the sky, so you didn't see it in the sky.
Mm.
Looks like a
And that took-
watercolor.
It does.
Yeah.
It looks like,
Yeah, that's what I like. I really like how soft it feels. And then on the sky, you know, usually what people are, myself included, usually do with skies, try to get a lot of punch in the sky. And I just wanted to take it in the opposite direction to give that soft, lazy, beachy afternoon heat feel. So I went the other direction, I took the punch out of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that looks like just to me a very lovely landscape.
It's
And
peaceful.
where was that taken, Tom?
Emerald Isle.
Okay. Nice, nice.
At the boat launch at Emerald Isle.
Very effective.
Mhm.
Tom,
So this
Nice.
is the other direction. This is a much punchier set
Oh,
of
yeah.
clouds, and I really like the sort of the brutality of that wing against the unbelievably complex.
It does give us a lot of contrast, that wing
Yeah.
against the clouds.
Yeah.
I really love airplane shots. I've taken a number of them when I used to travel a lot for business, and I find them fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like I think people sort of take it for granted once they get up there, but I don't fly that often. So me, it's like,
Mm.
my God, look at that! Wait a minute, look at that!
well,
I
this is
also
a-
like the size. I like the size, that it's kind of unconventional, but it
Mhm.
works.
The panorama, you mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I haven't seen an airline window that was clean enough to take that kind of shot.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that. Yeah, a lot of times you can't see through it.
Yeah.
It must have just been.
Wow.
I
washed.
wasn't sitting at the window, so I had to lean over I just had my camera, my phone. I just clicked a bunch of pictures.
Wow. No, very nice.
Yep, nice.
Yeah.
Helen,
Ah,
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I went soft also on this one. This is Friday afternoon over Jordan Lake, and
Mm.
I've forgotten what I was doing in post-processing, and it added a little bit of color, and but it didn't, the camera nor post knew what to do with all those fluffy clouds and which ones to do. So I decided just, hey, it was kind of effective, moody, even though it's soft.
The good mixture of the white clouds and the gray ones in there like that. You know, the gray clouds give it a little more ominous look.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, it hailed in a few minutes.
Oh, did it really?
Hmm.
Well, that's the past couple of days or week, we've been hit with some weird storms that come through. When you have skies like this and then all of a sudden something comes in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah, this one's really, really good, Ellen.
It's same time, this was my first time really trying to get a decent shot of a bird against the sky, and the first time using the polarizing filter. And I've cropped it every way that I could think of to crop it from the original. And the bird actually really didn't need much sharpening. I tried to lighten it because it was
No.
clipped.
It looks really
Clip.
sharp.
It
Yeah,
does.
it clipped at the wing on this side a little bit.
Wow.
I wish I could have done something with that, but I couldn't. And I decided if I cropped it much more, I was going to lose the blue sky, which I like the comparison of the white and the blue.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Very nice.
Yep. Terrific.
A Jordan Lake vulture.
Ah,
This is, oh, Betty.
Yes, that's mine. You know how far away I went for this one, right?
The world traveler.
Yeah. Let me know, am I still freezing when I'm talking or not?
No, you're fine.
Oh,
No, you're
very
fine
good.
now.
Okay, well, let me know if I do. Because I got a message on there that the internet is unstable today or something. But yeah, Century always is unstable. Anyway, as I was mentioning before we started, I'd been looking through this book of David Duboulai's underwater and above water shots, where with the same equipment, he didn't Photoshop it. He did it, the scene on Earth and the scene below the water. And as I was starting to shoot pictures of the clouds, I started getting kind of that same mindset he was talking about, and seeing, what the relationship is of the.
You're frozen.
Yeah.
Nice, really.
Well, we lost you, Betty, but it is a good shot.
It is
But she
beautiful.
can,
Yeah.
she can
really
hear in a
nice
recording.
composition.
Yeah, I like the way the clouds behind go up and are heavy, and it kind of offset the silo. The composition is excellent.
Yeah, it's almost like a repeating
Mhm.
shape.
Yeah,
Oh, Betty's back.
very nice.
She's talking, but we're not hearing her.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
No. Yeah, okay.
I don't know if
Yeah,
you heard.
the thing that I was one. Yeah, I heard the comments. Thank you.
Okay.
I
Good.
guess I can hear, but but it was sort of like the whole organic business and the softness of the cloud and the changing and stuff, and to something look like pretty, and
Yeah, sounds like you're starting to freeze up now.
Yeah. Well, it's a good shot, Betty.
the silo is also anyway.
yeah.
This is Betty as well.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, how'd you get that silo on top of those garage or whatever they're doing?
I was thinking I better get out more often because I didn't see that being built.
Same thing. Can you hear me now?
Yep,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Same thing. The contrast of the peaceful sky and the busy, earth below it, sort of thing. What was going? I was trying again to kind of play with that idea of having some relationship between the sky and what's happening on land, the same way that he did it on land and in the water. Anyway, I had a lot of fun playing with it from that point of view.
Did you use a polarizing filter at all when you did these?
No, actually, this was all iPhone stuff.
Oh, okay, all right.
I was just trying to concentrate on, composition and the story and all of that stuff. And just, this is taken at Briar Chapel one morning walking, doing all that construction up there.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that I think Mike has probably pushed quite a bit is to look at other people's work as well. And that's why there's always been, the idea of getting on Flickr and seeing how other people approach, certain subjects. And like Betty, she picked on a photographer there and started using it. And yeah, it's an interesting way to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Makes it fun.
It's introspective. This
Very nice.
Susan.
Wow.
Susan's still with us.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I got a circular polarizing filter, which was more of a challenge than I thought it would be for various reasons. I kept turning the wrong ring and I couldn't get the filter on the lens. Anyway, this is just right in my neighborhood. And I found that when I went to do enhance, the blue sky turned really bluer.
Right.
And so I did not use enhance. And this is just with the circular polarizing filter.
Uh-huh. Nice.
Very effective, the way the trees frame the sky.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's enough detail in the trees.
Mhm.
It's not completely black or darkened. No, really nice, Sue.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice textures.
This one too, Susan.
Great.
And this was also in the neighborhood with the polarizing filter.
Yeah, good job with the framing on these trees too.
Yeah.
I like that little detail with the what is that? Sugar. I forget the name of that tree. That with the pointed leaves in the upper left. That's really. I just like that.
Right,
little
yeah.
detail. Yeah.
Sweet,
Yeah.
gum.
Sweet gum. Sweet
Sweet
gum.
gum.
Yeah, I wanted to leave enough of that in there. It's true,
Well, and,
But
there have been a number of photos today already that the idea of foreground and it's not just all distant. And in a lot of landscape photography, that's what it's all about. I've said over and over, foreground, middle ground, background. Nicely done, Susan.
Thank you.
And speaking of flying,
Ooh.
Wow.
Nice.
yeah, Bill, I'm going to guess that Bill didn't have to lean over somebody to get to the window because he was in the pilot's seat, my bet is.
Yeah, that was on a trip going up to New Jersey. And what made it very interesting is that I'm a VFR pilot, visual flight rules, and I'm not allowed to fly through clouds. So I had to find my way through them. But I knew once I got to northern Delaware and that little channel across to New Jersey, there would be no clouds there. So I'd have to go down and then stay lower to the ground for the rest of the trip. But this was at 9,500 feet. And I made sure that I kept it framed with the wing.
Beautiful.
And yeah, you being in a small two-seater Cessna and being above the clouds is a thrill. And some of the pictures that Susan just had where you have the cumulus clouds going up, I would sometimes drive home from work and I'd see those clouds, and right after dinner I'd run down to the airport and just kind of fly through them and around them. It was
Oh, wow.
so peaceful. It was just yeah, a great time.
That's a frame. That's one that should be framed.
Yeah, and you can put it into the I remember when category, Bill.
Yeah, let's see, when aviation fuel was $2.50. Yeah.
Ooh,
Nice.
Ooh, nice.
is this, Bill, is this yours?
Yeah.
Yep, this is it.
Wow, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, this was how we were greeted at the House in Duck when I think it was
Oh,
last
wow.
year. it was just kind of amazing that I've never seen light like that facing east. You know, often when you go over to the sound, you'll see clouds that are lit up in orange and red, but and the only thing that I really did on this was in Photoshop Elements, probably, was to go and do the haze reduction.
Mhm.
Haze reduction always works pretty good when there's a lot of humidity. And that was pretty much it. And
Wow.
got to admit,
The details in the water are just
Yeah,
incredible,
incredible.
Really are, yeah.
beautiful.
It's a beautiful break. Yeah, I love those waves.
Yeah,
It's really hard to get them that sharp too. I mean, they're just so sharp.
It's beautiful. Great picture.
Yeah, everything from foreground back is all in sharp.
Yeah.
And it kind of looks like there's a fire going on inside those clouds. And that's
oh,
what's
it was
coming
an
through.
amazing sight because we had just shown up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, wow.
I dropped everything and I ran that onto the beach.
yeah, yeah,
Great shot,
Exactly.
Bill.
yeah.
Very
wonderful.
nice, Bill.
And Frank.
Okay, yeah, this was similar to the clouds that Larry caught. I saw him one day down in the village, and taking Bill's advice, I bought the polarizing filter with me and put it on, was able to, make the blue really, and the clouds come out without blowing them out. They were, and another thing I liked about it, I could have used it for the red, white, and blue submission.
Yeah.
Because you got the white clouds, the blue sky, and then the red on the flowering tree. But,
Definitely.
it was just a perfect day for it.
Pretty.
It really
It's
is sharp.
interesting the way the it's interesting the way the polarizing filter makes the blue that color. I mean, it's like, it's an interesting.
Yeah, I noticed when I turn it, the contrast between the clouds and the blue gets greater,
Mm-hmm.
with the sky, and it just makes them like pop out.
Yeah,
And it helps with the greens too, so you're
Yeah.
getting a lot of benefit here.
But it was fun to play around with. I don't use it that often, but I think I'll make sure I carry it with me a lot more. And this is one of the days down at the entrance to the village. It was one of those days where it was beautiful all day. You had nice clouds, but then it looked like a storm coming in. So that's why I like that gray clouds coming in over the
Yeah.
silo.
And one of the things that's good about this, Frank, is where the silo is. It's not right smack dab in the middle.
No, I want it over to the side with the gray clouds coming down on it.
Mhm.
That's what it looks like. It looks like they're lowering themselves on it,
Yeah.
but you still have enough detail of the white clouds in the background.
Yeah, I like that.
The only,
Go on,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Bill.
go ahead.
The only problem I had, it still looks like the silo is tilting, and I tried straight with the straightening tool, and I thought maybe the damn thing it's ready to fall over.
It is crooked. It is,
Yeah.
because that was one of the problems when I was taking it. And then I finally decided straightening it up didn't make it look good either. So just
No, I just decided to leave it.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
drag it the other way, it can be the Leaning Tower in Farrington.
Right.
Until you pointed it out, I didn't really notice. I can see that, yeah, maybe a couple of degrees, but
Yeah.
God,
Yeah, it's real
I
close.
Just
thought
enough
maybe
that it jumps
I thought
out.
maybe the fence was giving us the optical illusion that it was tilting.
mm,
It's tilting.
Well, maybe if Carborough is the Paris of the Piedmont, then we can have the Leaning Tower. in Farrington.
Meanings,
Were you
Meaning-
outside of the fence or did you go inside the pasture?
I was at the fence. I parked on the side, walked over to the fence and shot it, and then zoomed in, cropped it in.
It's a very sharp picture. Very,
Because there was
very
one
nice.
point that was on the left side, there was a car going along the road, so I cropped it in enough to get that out of there.
If you want to go for some fun pictures over there, now that it's so hot, you'll see the cow on the right-hand side of the silo there. The
Mhm.
other day, they had the water on to cool them off.
Yeah.
They were lined up. It looked like they were going into a car wash. It was, yeah, next.
Yeah,
Oh,
there he is.
Good job, Frank.
oh,
And with a continuation of the silo series,
Mhm.
and
oh,
Whoa.
yeah. I guess that's mine.
yep,
So I figured out something. This is the first time I've ever used a polarizer. And the first day I went out, I had my polarized sunglasses on. And I couldn't figure out why I couldn't see any change in the picture.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, so don't wear your polarizing sunglasses.
Bill,
Interesting.
you forgot that tip.
Yeah, right.
But then the one trouble I had, because I took this at about 3 in the afternoon, was I couldn't see my view because of the glare. I couldn't see my viewfinder well enough to see where I was actually, where my focal point was.
Hmm.
So it is what
No.
it is.
Everything's sharp from the foreground out to the clouds in the sky.
Yep.
Yeah,
And the fences and the grass and the trees do a nice leveling. You know, you had different levels of in the picture.
Right.
Yeah, nice leading line with that, that corridor there where the cows were lining up in the other picture.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
The cow wash.
Cow wash, yeah.
Good job, Lynn. This is Lynn's as well.
Ooh,
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that.
Really
Right.
nice.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Thank
See
you.
it alongside Weathersfield there, right? Because
Correct.
I recognize the little birdhouses on those posts.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, now I know where, yeah.
Because I've tried a couple of the birdhouse with the background, but I didn't finish them. So I got to go back and work on that. But that's a beautiful clouded sky you have there with the green trees and just the colors are beautiful
Thank you.
and the
I-
sharpness.
Yeah. I like the posts in the left. I think that adds to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of
the top
anchors it
wire.
or something. Yeah, I like it.
And one thing I really liked what I saw with anybody who talked about having the circular polarizer on is that the blue is consistent through the whole image.
hmm
Because if you don't turn that circular portion of it all the way to make sure that it's like that, you can have one part of your image at the edge be like very light colored blue and the rest be really dark. I've done that once or twice or 4 times and yeah. These all came out really good.
it
It's gonna
did.
take some practice.
Well, obviously, Bill contributed a lot.
Yeah. Gave us food for thought.
Mm-hmm.
This is Chuck.
Wow.
Oh,
Pretty.
Wow.
We were in the Asheville area last
Yeah.
week. Yeah, I was up there like all week. So this was in the middle of the week. It's Craggy Gardens. And it's just I think it's an 18 millimeter. I did use my circular polarizer. And I think I was lucky because I had my camera set on manual from when I was doing something else. And so it really wasn't focusing, but I had to focus at the right place for basically a little bit less than infinity, I guess.
hmm
So I was lucky because I think it's mostly in focus.
Yeah, it is. A third of the way.
And all I did, I did use Clarify, and that made the sky much more, dramatic. And removed the haze because it was very humid all last week there. unusual, I think for this time of year. Usually you go up there to get rid of the humidity, but it was really humid up there.
I started to say, Chuck, and probably was too, well, I don't think I said it clearly enough, but the business of where do you focus? You can either use the table, or you can just estimate a third of the way into the shot, and that's looked like
Uh-huh.
that first rise
Okay,
beyond
yeah.
the fold. That's about where I suspect you focused. And this one's really dramatic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did three. I have to apologize for doing that, but because the first one and this one, I think I like this better, but I kind of had that tree in the foreground, and I
Right.
kind of like that, but anyway, yeah, I think this is a much more open. I was trying to get the sense of just the vastness, that feel of all that open space,
And I'm of the two, even when I was downloading them, Chuck, this was the one I liked the most.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I like how you got blue vignetting in the upper left-hand corner, right-hand corner.
Yes, I don't know how I did that. It must have been something with the limits of the lens, I guess. I think I pretty much had it on f8, so I wasn't like really stopping it down. But yeah,
Well, I think it's a cool effect, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's Chuck as well.
Really nice.
Yeah.
I did one more. That was at the Botanical Gardens. We went there for an evening, and we're just walking around. I had my camera in case I saw something interesting, and I just saw this light coming through an opening in the clouds, and just thought, well, maybe if I darken up the just let the light expose it for the sky, and then let the foreground fall where it is.
Was it raining?
Not yet. It did shower a little bit.
Yeah, because
after
there's
that.
a lot of spots in it.
Yeah, maybe I need to clean my my filter. I don't think I had my polarizer on for this one.
And that jumped
Yeah,
out at me too, Chuck. There's a big one, and it could be on your sensor. Who knows?
Yeah, that one you just
Yeah, there, and then
Left top area.
Yeah, I need
think
to check.
another one over here. My screen is so dirty, I have to move the photo around to know what's on the photo and what's on my screen. But
Yeah, I see another one up in the. There's a bunch of them. I see them all. I was in a hurry to process them. I didn't see that.
Well,
yeah,
you just change it to say that it's UFOs in the
That's right.
sky.
That's
with your
right.
clouds.
Very spotted. Yeah. No, it's a bunch of birds, but they weren't in focus.
I
The
thought
second one was really
we were originally going to have enough, and then I got word we had too many, and I added a couple of mine from the archives at the end, and I guess I'll ask your indulgence to show them. But
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
All right.
Beautiful.
Really nice.
this was off the coast, close to Cancun. Long ago and far away. And I did not use a polarizer.
Well, the sky was really that blue?
Susan, blue skies, and that's just something that I really, really love. So many of my photos have blue sky in them. I took this long enough ago that I don't really remember all I did to it. But I think it was that normally I wouldn't mess with it much. That may be what attracted me to it in the first place. So
Beautiful.
you can see some sun rays coming up from that cloud over on that left-hand side too. That,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
and this next one
It's
is a reason
interesting
to
how on the
care.
very bottom, the blue going across, then it goes to the darker sea.
Yeah,
And then where the sky and the sea kind of come together, it's kind of like there's fog out there or something.
Yeah, it's like the moisture is,
Yeah,
it's probably
really
raining
cool.
that far away.
yep.
Could be.
Yeah.
And
mm,
this last one is one that's testimony to carrying your camera in your car with you.
Definitely.
Took that on the way to work one morning.
oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
What a sky.
definitely.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Well, this was Oklahoma, and you know, I've come to really. North Carolina has incredible clouds. I don't know what the meteorological explanation of it is, but to see something like this in Oklahoma was really pretty unusual. But I could have just gotten rid of those telephone poles. Anyway,
Yeah.
well, good meeting you guys. I'm sorry I'm so gravelly, but the way I woke up this morning. So, anything to follow up?
Oh, at least you woke up.
Yeah, well, at least halfway, Chuck.
We meet,
Lynn?
so we meet in person in 2 weeks.
If that's, yep, I think so.
Yeah, next one, 2 weeks.
Everyone's all on the same page.
Okay.
August 2nd, and it's lakes, ponds, and rivers.
Okay.
And I don't know that I'm going to be tempted to try and do Zoom and the regular meeting. With Jeff helped a whole lot, and we had all those bugs worked out, and then to have it fail again. I didn't see it, but there was apparently a program from NASA and photos from the new telescope
Right.
of things on Earth. And somebody was telling me that virtually every segment of that there was a glitch of some sort, which made me feel really good about Zoom. And Helen sent me another article about people that are supposed to be experts at Zoom and or things like this, and that have had trouble. And it's just the media maybe just not ready for doing some of the things we're trying to do. So I don't know that we're going to get video in addition to being in person. And maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe that will encourage more people to come, because we've had good turnouts. So I'm ever grateful for having the church as a place where we can meet. So, well, you all have a good rest
Do
of
we
your
have
week.
tips and tricks for, do we have a tips and tricks for the next one?
Oh, I'd have to go off. Well, let's put it this way: it'll be in the minutes. I don't remember, and it'd take me a bit to get to the spreadsheet. But
Yeah, well, if all fails, I'll be able to talk about my wonderful trip here, journey of changing my laptop from 512 gigabytes to 2 terabytes. So if my laptop's not working by then, it's supposed to show up tomorrow, and I'm gonna give it a shot.
That's
I
exciting.
Good luck.
had to upgrade the hard drive on my laptop as well. So, all right, y'all, take care. Thank you.
All right,
you.
everybody.
Thank you,
Sue,
Mike.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Enjoy the rest of the day.